Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Rhyme of the Times for the weekend in 28th of June 2025. A week far from humdrum as some bang Trump's drum and others feel numb as midnight hammer messes up Iran's uranium, leaving Khomeini feeling glum. Next to Rutte, his chum, and in front of a media scrum, Trump calls some journalists scum. Rebels mess up the sums and have Starmer under their thumb, and he has to succumb over the bill to change welfare outcomes. Bob Vylan's chant for some is unwelcome. Sunday morning we woke to news quite hard to hear. News that was as near as, damn it, to nuclear. Pete Hegseth's words brought to some hope, others fear. His standpoint some may revile and others may revere. The US Defense Secretary made it very clear. A new era of peace through strength was now here. The Ayatollahs may choose to jeer or sneer, but the isolationist Trump felt he must interfere. 'Cause Iran's new nuclear bomb, it would appear, according to intelligence, was very near. America's complex mission with bunker bombs had destroyed 3 key sites with some aplomb. 7 B-2 bombers had taken off from Missouri for a 37-hour round trip of courage and glory. Nuclear sites at Fordo, Natanz and Isfahan turned to rubble within a lightning time span. Operation Midnight Hammer had hit the nail on the head, 3 bases wiped out, but no Iranian dead. Recently, Trump's mental strength has been questioned with increasing caprice and short span of attention. But this precision attack of shock and awe, intended to end and not start a war, with the groundwork laid by the Mossad spooks, was a military masterstroke, no lucky fluke. And those spooked by thoughts of an Iranian nuke would have Trump respected more than rebuked. Iran attacked Qatar in retaliation, aiming at a US military installation. They were probably as relieved as the rest of us were that the missiles were intercepted and nothing occurred. And before things again escalated, Trump forced a ceasefire to be negotiated. He said they don't know what the F they're doing. Tough words to achieve the peace he was pursuing. While many in the world considered Trump the baddie, NATO chief Mark Rutte referred to him as Daddy. Daddy's 2 kids were now at peace, and that's a relief. But Rutte's new moniker for Trump caused disbelief. Trump said Iran's nuclear ambitions had been negated, with their enrichment programs obliterated. However, it emerged as the week progressed that Midnight Hammer may not have been such a success. Trump attacked the messengers who delivered such stuff with the mainstream media. He became gruff and tough, calling CNN and the New York Times scum for quoting from a leaked report. Very rum. And President Macron was one of the many debunkers of the notion it had been legal to hit those bunkers. Some wondered if Netanyahu had spun Trump a yarn about the imminent dangers from the state of Iran. Israel had claimed Iran was just weeks away from constructing and using a nuclear bomb. A 180, a climb down, a rollback, a U-turn. Whatever you want to call it, it's causing concern. The PM seems minded to keep changing his mind, and his authority each time is being undermined. The argument that he's just being reflective for some critics is becoming increasingly ineffective. Even his own side are seething with invective, thinking his political antennas defective. This week's government storm concerned their welfare reform as things became warm from a Labour rebel swarm. Warm turned to hot as the rebellion gathered pace, and Sir Keir went from maintaining a brave face to saving face and looking for any saving grace. A dramatic Thursday will was when the volte-face took place. On Tuesday and Wednesday, he'd been in The Hague, where a NATO summit was being staged. When it came to addressing the media shark pool, he must have felt some heat, but still seemed quite cool, calmly stating that there was no turning back and winning next Tuesday's vote was still on track. And meanwhile at PMQs, at about the same time, Starmer's stand-in was towing the same party line. And Rayner and Sakir began the next day, still with their fingers in their ears, whistling away. But as the rebels increased, they looked at the sums, and when they added up to defeat, they finally succumbed. On Friday, Sakir announced with not much contrition he'd revised parts of the proposed welfare revision. But not all the rebels could be overcome, and Tuesday's vote for Sakir will be squeaky bum. So a week he'll not want to repeat or recap, and it wasn't done yet. There was still kneecap. Starmer had said the controversial Irish punk band from the Glastonbury Festival should be banned. Band member Mo Shara is up on a terrorist charge, but in Somerset he was very much still at large. On prime time Saturday, how the masses cheered as Mo chanted what he really thought about Sakir. The BBC didn't live stream it in anticipation that it might be inapt for mainstream delectation. But rap punk duo Bob Vylan had no such edit, and the BBC were about to regret it. Death, death to the IDF, they growled out loud, and were soon being joined by most of the crowd. The BBC were blindsided, or that's what it seemed, allowing this angry tirade to be live streamed. Across the country on state TV it was beamed. Not enough to pull the plug though, the BBC deemed. Some would say it was just a storm in a teacup, Glasgow's platform for free speech to speak up. What's certain is Auntie is sure to get beat up.